There we go. Alright. How's it going, everybody? It's been a while since I've done this, but I've just been waiting to hear back about my next order of blanks. So I thought in the meantime I would modify some of the cymbals that haven't had too much interest in them, and I was kind of on the fence about how they were going to be finished anyway. I had a potential customer who was interested in some drier type cymbals, but you know, that ended up not being a finished product there. So I'm gonna go through some of these and see if there's something I can do with them. This first one is gonna be one of the first cymbals I ever did. This is that sandpaper finish 20-inch cluster crash ride. And there's one rivet in it, so I'm going to be putting it on the lathe. So if you're ever lathing something that has a rivet in it, please remember to take the rivet out. It's not going to be good for you. Rivet's gone. So what I'm going to start with this one is probably just do a lathe pass on the bottom, and then from there I'll see about maybe hammering up the top a little bit to tighten it back up, because right now it's kind of quiet and very dry, so I want to release a little bit more sound from the bottom. I might do a pass on top as well, but I'll try to maybe tighten it up a little bit to get a little more volume out of it. Back that blade. Adjust this, make sure you can see everything that's happening. Beautiful. So, first things first, what I'm going to do is take the chalk, find out exactly where the rivet hole is, and mark it so that I know exactly when I'm going to be going over the rivet hole. So I'm not pushing too hard, I'm not going to damage the bit or the cymbal, anything like that. So that's always going to be step number one when you're reworking any cymbal that has rivet holes. You get it? Yeah. That's good. We'll try for this. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Throw on the safety stuff. Alright. I'm just going to start from the inside. Just do some really light shaving because I don't want to take off too much weight. I just want to let some more frequencies breathe. coming right up to where the rivet holes are. So you gotta be extra careful. Don't use too much pressure. Nice and flat on. One more pass just to clean it up a little bit. And you can see really clearly now. Let me try to bring this over here. You can see really clearly where those cluster hammer marks were put in because the lathe doesn't dig too far into those. Cool stuff. Bring this back over here. All right. The rivet hole is still nicely intact. It's great. So let's see. A little bit of brainstorming comes in. Well, let's just see what that did for the sound first. Probably not a whole crazy amount. Whew. Loosened it up a lot though. So I think what I'll do is let's see. So let's terrible camera angle. Okay. So that's what we got. I feel like I need to sharpen my bit as well, just a little bit. But what I might do is actually change my bit to the pointier one, so I can maybe go a little bit slower and get a little bit more into those divots. But what I'm going to do first is do a little bit of hammering on top, just so I can strengthen it up a little bit again before putting it on the lathe. Grab a seat. Put the angle. Grab my hammer. Again, watch for that rivet hole. When you're hammering, you don't want to hit right on where the hole is because you're going to get some cracks, absolutely. Shock. Nothing crazy, just adding some tension to the top. Tighten it up a little bit. So, tightened it up just a little bit. Now, come on, there it is. Okay, bring her back over here. Definitely brought some volume back in, which is good. And I think I'll just do one more pass with this guy right here. Just a little sharper. Just going to do one pass, applying a little bit more pressure. And then see what that does for us. careful of that rivet hole. Just gonna make sure that I remember where it is. There we go. Okay. Just gotta be careful of this next section. I don't know if you can hear that little pop that's happening when I go over that section. That's going over the rivet hole. So you can see if you're kind of skating over it, it's not going to, it's going to be okay. But if you're applying a lot of pressure and you forget that it's there, it could very easily catch your bit, crack the cymbal, crack your bit. So be very careful of that. Yeah, I was able to go a little bit more into the, you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but inside those clusters you can see the lathe grooves now. So, it's always going to be tough to get them right in there, but that's not bad. So let's, again, pull it off and see what we got. Let's see. Right. And you can see, let me see. You can see with the rivet hole, we have caused a little bit of shaving to happen to it there, but that's, that's totally fixable. We will recircle that out with a countersink bit, and that'll be good. So let's bring her back to the anvil. We'll do just a little bit of retightening. One more pass up top should do it. And that'll be good. So let's just go from this side. Go. Let's throw it on the stand. Not bad. Probably throw the rivet back in too, but since it's been reworked, always remember, it's It's going to be a little bit dead for those first couple days, but then it'll open up nicely. Okay. So, the next one that I was going to do is going to be a lot easier. Just much simpler, not going to take quite as long. So here is that Trash Crash 19-inch from what we did before. So the bottom's fully lathed, and what I was going to do, again, just to release some of those high frequencies again, but not too much because I want it to be dark and trashy. This is a fully unlathed top, so what I'm going to do is lathe the bell just right down to there, just open up some top frequencies up there, and then I'll do a sandpaper pass over here, and that'll pretty much get me to where I want this one to be, I'm pretty sure. Let's see if this. So this one doesn't have any rivets or anything like that, but it does have cluster hammers. So, that's just another thing to watch out for pretty much when you're doing anything on the lathe. The more uneven your surface is going to be, the more potential issues you could have, even if you're not using a bit. So, just keep your eye out for that. We'll start just by cleaning up the hole, just holding the bit. Just laid that bell. Pretty good. That bell's opened up. Let's grab some sandpaper. Grab a new strip of 220. thanks to everybody for sticking by this kind of slow process. It's very much in the moment, very thoughtful. You know, you don't want to get ahead of yourself. You can always add more work, but you can't take any work away. So that's, you know, there's no delete button with physical stuff like this. So, you know, thanks for sticking with it. So start with a 60. And I'm gonna, even though I just laid the bell, I'm gonna sandpaper over the bell too to create a nice smooth transition. My old white t-shirt. Switching over to the 220. See what we got. Whew. Looks pretty sweet. You can see very clearly the pattern of cluster hammers that I did on this one. So you got 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, all the way around, which is always one of my favorite patterns to do. It brings a little bit of, it's almost like it brings more of a uniform complexity to it. When you have total randomness when you put cluster hammers in there, I find sometimes it could bring some wobbly tones that don't really sound too great, especially when you're playing lightly. But this kind of a pattern that you put in there, it brings in complexity, but it brings an evenness of pitch with it as well, in my experience, which I really like. I don't like cymbals that have a wah, 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 wah kind of quality to them. Very cool. I like that. That's exactly what we wanted. A little bit more sustain, a little bit more brightness in the complexity. So let's throw this one on the stand too and see what we got. And it still has its stamp. Fantastic. Beauty. Beauty. Yeah, so that's basically what I was looking for with that one. Oh, no, didn't want to do that. I wanted to move the whole thing. All right. So we're just about half an hour here, so I think I can move on and hit that 22 as well. This 22-inch semi-dry that I have. I think it sounds good, but it's got like, there's something about it that just doesn't really speak to the sound that I was looking for. It's an intuitive kind of thing. I don't really know. It sounds good, but there's just something. See, now that it's had even more time to rest, I'm kind of second guessing working on it. It sounds good. Let's put it on the stand and see a little bit. This is where a little bit of humility has to come into play when you're making cymbals. Sometimes you think something is gonna sound better no matter what you do to it, but you can very easily cross that line to ruining it. Not saying that we're here with this one. I'm sure we could do something with it to make it sound good, but this is also, I don't know. It opens up pretty well, but it's got nice focus to it because of the dryness up top, but also that controlled ring, like that dry complex style ring that it has on the outside. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to leave that one for now. I took it to a jam session that I go to, and it worked really well in the room, especially for the trio stuff, and it was cutting through the guitarists and the horns and stuff as well. So maybe I will leave that one for now and see again how I'm feeling about it in a little bit. And this is something to keep in mind too. When something isn't selling immediately as fast as the other stuff, that doesn't mean it's bad. Doesn't mean it doesn't sound good. So that's something that it's really easy to get into your head. But it's just that the right person hasn't come along yet. There's certain types of cymbals, especially in our independent kind of cymbal smithing world, that everybody loves, and they sell pretty fast. And then there's the more niche ones that have to find that perfect person, but then that person is never going to let go of that cymbal. And that's part of the goal that we got to keep in mind. So, cool. Yeah, so I'm going to leave that one for now. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. I'm going to end this one here. It's pretty good stuff. Still waiting on more blanks. So if anybody has any cymbal sounds that they're looking for, just let me know, and we can order you a blank and start working towards it. Okay. Thanks for tuning in.